Hello and welcome to another chapter of the Hypertrophy Odyssey. It is the third day of the week, aka the Spirit Bomb workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today. For retards by retards. Now, before I begin, this is also probably going to be called like All is Quiet on the Frontal Lobe, which is a kind of spin-off of a different episode. See this one right here. But before we get into this subject matter, I want to say this because the original title will be For Retards by Retards. This has nothing to do with the brand FUBU or dress, anything with related to that. It just happens to sound like that. I don't want any association with FUBU. FUBU is its own thing. Respect it. Kevin Nash wore it. It's great. Excellent. 10 out of 10. Just a different thing. It's completely different from this. I don't want people to fucking think I'm talking about that because I'm not. What I am talking about when I say for retards by retards is the fact that if I were to put myself in a group, I want to put myself in the class of people that are stupid. Why? Because at the end of the day, like a spectrum, for some reason, somehow, some way, people who are on the lower end of the spectrum somehow get to the same conclusions as the people at the top of the spectrum. And listen, I'm not very smart. I can understand that. I know nothing. I have a YouTube channel that should tell you how much I know. So that being said, I'd rather be on the low end. So there's lots of reasoning for that. And also a few other things as well when it comes to that. Because I feel like there's a lot to discuss when it comes to things like that. In a certain sense, I made already a video about the idea of how I want to be uninformed. That's how I feel about a lot of things. I think more so often than not, at this point, I've learned most that I want to know. I want to know more about the things that I already know about, if that makes any sense. But any more information seems like it is diabolical for my health and well-being almost. It's almost like as if I want a lack of knowledge. But we'll talk more about that and a lot of other stuff because this isn't necessarily like I'm not open to ideas or anything like that, but more so along the lines of if there's no cutoff, we're going to have issues. And we'll talk about that and a lot of other stuff when we get to the race.
I used to start this day off with shoulder shrugs, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. By retards, for retards, or all is quiet in the frontal lobe. The main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because I don't want to know things. I'd rather stay ignorant on a lot of stuff. And this is by proxy of a lot of the things that I've learned in life. And that is that it is not good to know everything. There is a burden of knowing too much. And I think that a lot of people underestimate this, especially now with having the internet at your fingertips and the believability of certain things that you read on there. It makes it so that you know too much or you have access to too much information. And then obviously there are going to be people that you would want to go towards the things that are accredited or whatever bullshit that they would want to believe. But then again, if you know too much of it, there might be something where you are susceptible to these changes. But for me personally, I would just like to think of it as how would the dumbest version of myself interpret this, or how would I, as a person who likes to think about things a lot, dumb it down to the lowest nth degree to make it so that it fits the worldview of somebody who is just retarded. And I think that that's the best way to describe things. And there are certain things where probably doing the action of just fucking doing it is probably more important. I think that when I say for retards by retards, I think more along the lines of being more in tune with the idea of what your lizard brain or the lower end of your self brain would do with no real regard for the extraneous types of ordeals is the most important. More about just doing the damn thing and less about worrying about the outside details of the thing in and of itself. You know, a lot of the times people become very neurotic over the smallest instances of things or whatever it is. I've, of course, tried to get away from that because I think it's better to be ignorant to a lot of that type of stuff, especially when it comes to just doing things like lifting. There is a certain level of just going to do the damn thing that has to take place over doing all this minute detailing of every single thing or overthinking about it. Anytime you overthink about it, you understand this completely. I think the best analogy for this for a lot of people would be in soccer, when people will, a lot of the times when doing a penalty kick, they will all of a sudden just think about it way too much. much, and you can tell that they hesitated way too much, and then they end up missing it most of the time. And it's a very interesting thing where, because they got in within their own heads, and this just happens in all sports, but in general, when you get within your own head way too much about certain aspects or certain things that you're doing, then the doubt starts to creep in. The ability for unbeknownst factors that you didn't even think about when first trying to do this thing start creeping in, and those are the things that you should ignore by just doing it at your base level, or just being retarded about it and just kind of going through to it. Because if you do that, then you don't have to worry about that doubt that comes in all of a sudden and tries to sneak you away from what you could potentially be doing, because then all of a sudden you're thinking about it way too much, and then all of these things that come up that shouldn't have come up, or when they would have come up naturally, don't come up immediately rather than when they should have come up. And that's the other thing too. A lot of people will put things off because they keep thinking about the things that could come up instead of worrying about what's in front of them. They just worry about the bridges that they are too far away to even see. And that's an unfortunate thing with a lot of people, because I think that stops a lot of people from being creative or even doing anything in life really that is worth having a failure in there, because they are worried about themselves instead of just doing the damn thing.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed to none. Exercises skipped also none. Got everything in. Anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. For retards by retard, or all is quiet on the frontal lobe. One of the two. I'll make the title. But anyways, the main reason I wanted to discuss this is because I think that adding a level of simplicity, of impulsive thinking, of making sure that the overthought, the overknowledge, the overconsumption of things is limited in life is probably the better bet than making it so that you have everything all at once every single time, no matter what, instantly flowing into your brain, because each of those things bringing down your cognitive thinking with every single thing going on. You're just kind of riding the ropes of whatever will take the lead the strongest. And I think that dumbing it down into simplistic types of ideals and making it so that not overthinking things, or at least just not overstimulating yourself too much to the point where you just can kind of go away from a lot of the stuff, makes total sense. I think that just being in essence just stupid and ignorant on certain things is probably better in a certain sense, because not necessarily that you want to be ignorant or you should be ignorant on everything, but more so have an impulsivity or a lack of impulse on certain aspects of things. I lift because I like lifting, right? Of course, I can go down the rabbit hole of talking about lifting for hours upon end in and of itself. But at the same time, if you ask me like what are some of like the greatest things to do in lifting, it's just consistency really, and a few other little tiny things. But that's it. Like there's very much a whole other subject matter that you can really get into. You can get into the weeds, the nitty gritty, all of that shit. And at the end of the day, realistically, none of it matters if you aren't doing the one thing. So if you aren't just retardedly bashing your head into the wall with certain things, the rest of it doesn't matter. The nuances of certain aspects of not just lifting, but other things in life don't matter if you aren't doing the grind itself. So you can do all of the theory knowledge, the news, keeping up with everything humanly possible, the latest technologies, the latest techniques, the latest metas, all of these things. But if you aren't doing it, if you aren't participating in it, if you aren't actually sitting down, turning off the brain and turning on the creativity to do something, whatever it is, it's useless really. And I think that that goes into a way of just kind of making sure that you are retarding yourself or shutting certain parts of your brain off in order to do certain parts to make sure that other parts can turn on, because try to turn on all the lights, you're just wasting energy, right? It's an interesting dynamic, but that's just how I feel about it. I think that this is something that has been more and more recent for me. I think I've just been kind of tired of being like what is considered too spread too thin, and I'd rather just kind of go bore mode, to quote a guy that I like on YouTube. You just kind of go, you know, there's no real thought process to it, just fucking attack and that's it. And I think that that's the best way to describe it, and not really being very much on the frontal lobe is very useful. So with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. Not necessarily random at all. This is what this channel's about, is being for the retards by the retards. So please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay cool, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!